everyone. My name is Darshan Shanti, and I'm the founder of Freedom Incorporated, Inc. It's a personal and professional development company that I started about a dozen years ago to help people all over the world to let go of the beliefs and the blocks and the barriers that stop them from having whatever it is they want. I'm also the author of the 24-Hour Champion, Discovering and Living Your Priceless Life. And this is a book that will help you to program yourself for success in 24 hours or less. You know, I've worked with over 30,000 people in the last dozen years. And they've been in all backgrounds, all ages, all industries. But many of them had one thing in common. And that one thing was that they were looking for the secrets to success. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. The 5 key ingredients to the secrets of success. So I want you to grab a pen, I want you to grab a piece of paper, and I want you to take some notes. Because what I'm going to share with you today is critical for everyone's success in life, in business, or in both. No ifs, no ands, and no buts. And so this will have a deep and profound, lasting effect on your life. So make sure you do take good notes. Well, over these last dozen years, these 30,000 people all looking for success, they actually wanted to bypass the pain, to bypass the barriers, to bypass the blocks, and they wanted to get past the struggles, and they wanted to make it easier, and they wanted to make it faster than ever. Well, when people promise those kinds of things, they're promising people the world. But what they do is they deliver a toy globe instead. You see, success doesn't happen overnight. That is, unless you win the lottery. The point is, you can make success happen, and you can make it easier, and you can make it faster. But 5 key ingredients need to be there. You see, people want to know what I call the secret sauce. They want to know what's actually in this bottle, what's actually in the air that's going to make them successful. And really, the secret sauce to success is what I call a farce. So now we're going to have some fun with this, because I'm saying success is a farce. So what do I mean by farce? Well, farce, if you look up the actual term for the definition of it, is it's a charade. It's a sham. It's a falsehood. But you know what? Anything to do with success that we're going to talk about is the exact opposite of that. You see, success is a farce only in terms of an acronym. So I told you we're going to have some fun. But each letter is going to stand for one of the key ingredients to success. So let's take a look at what those key ingredients are. I've got it on the board over here. So you see where I say success is a farce. Well, we're going to look at the F, we're going to look at the A, the R, the C, and the E. So the first key ingredient, and they're all key ingredients, because without them, success is not going to happen. Imagine trying to bake a loaf of bread without the flour. You see, the bread's not going to be made. And if you try to have success without one of these things in place, the same thing is going to happen. And that same thing is nothing. So the first letter, as you can see, is F. Now what does F equal? F equals focus. You've got to focus on whatever it is you want. Period. End of story. Because what you focus on, you will manifest. And too many people in their business life focus on too many different things. They focus on this project for a little while or that project for a little while, and if it doesn't produce results right away, they start to focus on something else. And then they go to something else, and month after month, year after year, they keep repeating the same problems over and over again. The absolute must that you have to do is pick one, focus on it, and don't take your eyes off of that prize. See the end. See the goal, see the completion, focus on it, take action, and do not stop. And we'll talk about some more of that as we continue. Think about a magnifying glass. When you focus the power of the sun on a piece of paper, what does it do? It intensifies it, and then the paper burns. It's the same thing. You know, the Chinese have a saying, they say, if you chase 2 chickens, you will starve. Well, I can tell you this. The reason why you will starve is because if you go after that one, and you don't get it, and then you try to go after that one and you don't get it, and you keep repeating that pattern over and over again, you're going to have the same results, called no food. So you've got to focus on exactly what you want and don't stop until you get it. Well, key ingredient number 2 in the secret sauce to success, A stands for attitude. You see, your attitude is the most important thing that you have. Your attitude determines your altitude. The better your attitude, the higher you'll go. Now, how do we make that real for you? Because it's one thing to say that. It's a whole other thing to make it true for you. So why say you're in control of your attitude? Why do I say that? Because you are. No one and nothing outside of you can make you feel any way that you don't want to. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what the problems are, what the past has been. Your past has passed. And the only thing you've got control over is your attitude right now in the present moment. Your attitude is your absolute foundation. And your attitude will determine the actions you take, and your attitude will determine how quickly and how easily you reach the levels you want to reach. I'll give you a personal example. A friend of mine, he's an international speaker. His name is W. Mitchell, and you can check out his website at wmitchell.com. In the 1970s, he was burned beyond recognition. And he was also in a plane crash. His face melted off, his fingers were burned off, and then after he recovered from the burns, he was in a plane crash, and he was crippled. His wife left him. I mean, his whole life fell apart. Well, after all of that happened, he moved to a town in Crested Butte, Montana, and he became the mayor of that town. And he saved that town from a mining company who were trying to come in and move 1,500 people and disrupt the entire town. And he fought tooth and nail in court, used his own money and did everything, because he said, no one's going to take our town away from us. His attitude saved his life. His attitude saved that town. And your attitude will save your life. And your attitude will make or break you as a successful person in your business. The better your attitude, the faster you'll go. So let's look at the next one. R. What does R stand for? Well, R stands for responsibility. Now, what am I talking about when I'm talking about responsibility? People avoid responsibility like the plague because they have a negative connotation with it. They're afraid of it. They're like, it's not my fault. We're not talking about fault. We're not talking about blame. We're talking about responsibility. You are responsible for every single thing in your life. You're responsible for your attitude. You're responsible for your focus. You are responsible for your belief systems. You are responsible for the things you do and don't do, period, end of story. There's no way to be irresponsible, because no matter if you're being irresponsible or not, guess what? You're still responsible. And the moment you take the complete responsibility for everything in your life, beginning with this, yourself, beginning with your greatness, your magnificence, and your pricelessness, and live that way without exception, that's when all of the amazing miracles start to happen in your life. Period. End of story. You are priceless, not worth less. And so many people live as if they're worthless. And so what happens when they do? Then they fear success, then they fear failure, then they fear rejection, and they fear other people's opinions. But when you know and take full responsibility for how great you are, because that is the number one responsibility you have, you don't fear those things anymore. And when you're not worried about what they think of you, you're free. You're free to go out and live the life you want, do the things you want, and have the success you want, and have it right now. So let's look at the next one. Well, the next one is C. And what does C stand for? It stands for commitment. You see, nothing happens without commitment. The best definition I ever heard for commitment was this: it's a promise you make to yourself or someone else that you don't back out of no matter what. Without commitment, you will find a way to back out. With commitment, you will stick to something until it's done, period, end of story. And when you're committed, all kinds of things will show up to support you that wouldn't have showed up had you not committed. Now let me show you something else that's really, really cool about commitment. Commitment is an all or nothing game. And I'm going to demonstrate here by sitting down. So as I sit down, what I want you to imagine is this: if you are sitting down in a chair, and I say, I want you to be 99% committed to standing up. Well, guess what? You're going to remain sitting. If you stood, that means you were 100% committed to standing. The point is, commitment, again, is 100% or nothing. So if you're 99.9% committed to sitting, you're not 0.1 or to standing, you're not 0.1% committed. You are 100% committed to doing whatever it is you are doing then. So if you're 99% committed to success, you're not 1% committed to failure. You're actually 100% committed to failure. Because if you're 99% committed to do something, you'll find a way to back out. You'll find a way to stop. Just as I'm 99% committed to sitting right now, which really means I'm 100%. If I'm 99% committed to standing, I'm never going to get up. I'm 100% committed to sitting. I say that over and over again because I want you to understand that you cannot fool yourself. Commitment is 100% or nothing. I'm going to stand up now. I'm going to show you. This is 100%. This is 99%. Any questions? Well, the same thing happens in your life. You are 100% and you will be successful. If you're 99%, you'll find a way to stop, and your success will be much, much harder. There'll be much more pain, much more confusion, and many more problems. So now let's move on to the last one. The last one in this wonderful acronym is E, and E stands for execution. You see, if you don't take action, which is another word for execution, it doesn't matter what you focused on. It doesn't matter how good your attitude is. It doesn't matter how responsible you've been. It doesn't matter what your commitment level is. Because without action, nothing happens. And yet so many people stop short, right there. They do everything it takes, and then they come to the action step, and they find a way to stop. Why do they find a way to stop? Well, because they were never committed. Because they weren't being responsible. Because their attitude was, I can't do it. They listened to their itty-bitty pity committee inside and not their inner winner. And if you listen to the itty-bitty pity committee, you're going to have one life. And if you listen to the inner winner, you're going to have another one. So they don't take action because they're afraid of success or they're afraid of failure. But again, when you take full responsibility for your greatness and your magnificence and your pricelessness, and you live that way without exception, you're not worried about failure because it doesn't have any reflection on you. If you failed at something, it doesn't mean you're a failure. So you've got to take action, and you've got to take consistent action, and you've got to take massive action, and you've got to take focused action every single day until your project, your goal, until your dream is accomplished. Action is critical, just as all of them are. Without action, nothing happens. Well, folks, I hope you have learned something in this first video on this series of success. I hope this has been life-changing for you, and I hope you play it back over and over again, and I invite you to share it with your friends so they can learn too. And I invite you to get together with them and hold them accountable and help them to reach levels of success. Will they help you? And if you want more videos or more tools or more resources, just go to www.FARCE the word the, T-A-G, the number 24, a 2 and a 4, the word hour, H-O-U-R, and the word champion.com. You go to www.the24hourchampion.com, and I'll be there to help you with all kinds of tools, and feel free to call me or email me. Thank you very, very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.